Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. So, I'm about a month away from my first anniversary here on BookTube, and it occurred to me that I have never, I think I have never done a, a book haul video. And I decided that this is a good time to do one because I have acquired a number of new books over the past few weeks with the holidays. I did include in other videos some of the delightful books that I received from BookTube friends. And that was Gavin at Genre Books, and Troy at troytradup, and Marcia, of a BookTube friend and subscriber. So I'm not going to talk about those books again in this video, but I did want to just bring in and show some of the books that I received for the holidays from other friends and from family. Um, a few of these I may have mentioned in other videos recently because they pertain to events that I'm participating in. It can be hard for my family to buy books for me, so people tend to give a lot of gift cards. Um, I wanted to show a couple of books that my brother gave me. He tells me to just, pick out what I want, buy what I want. I can wrap it or not, and he will reimburse me. So my brother reads exclusively history. So he was really delighted to know that I was spending some of his money on some books for Historathon. So I wanted to participate this year, and I am participating this year in Historathon. And I also wanted to participate in Robert G. Reader of Books event on reading about Roman emperors. So I thought it made sense to get Mary Beard's Emperor of Rome, which my brother gave me for Christmas. But when I started it, I thought, this is not the book for me to start with. I think that should be the second book that I read. And so I decided her earlier book on a history of ancient Rome, SPQR, would make more sense as my first reading for Historathon. So this is what I'm reading right now. And I understand that people read it last year. There was actually a group read of it, which I completely missed out on. But I've gotten into this, and I think this is a good place for me to begin. Also, another Christmas gift is Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time. And this actually came with the cover of it bent inside. It's a brand new book, but it came a little bit damaged. This is a book I've heard a number of people talk about, and I've been hearing a lot of people talking about Adrian Tchaikovsky lately. And so I wanted to see what this is all about. As many of you know, I've been sort of finding my way through science fiction these past 2 years, and this is an author I keep hearing about, and that I have read nothing by. My good friend Lecton at Reading from the Depths also wants to read this. This is actually the first volume in a trilogy. He wants to read the whole trilogy. I'm not ambitious enough at this point to say that I'm ready to sign on to read the whole trilogy. I think I need to read this and see what it's all about. And then, but I've heard only great things about this book. So who knows? Maybe I'll read the whole thing. But what I understand, this is a book about the remnants of the human race finding a new home when the earth has been threatened, and they discover a new place that has been prepared for human life, and they plan to settle there, only to discover that this new home is not unoccupied. And I think the rest of this novel, I'm not sure about the whole trilogy, is about the struggle for survival among the different races that are now claiming this place as home. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we're looking at April, Lecton and I, for reading that. Another novel that came in for Christmas is Simon Van Booy's Sipsworth. This novel has come highly recommended to me also by several friends and booktuber friends as well, and people who have just spoken very, very highly of it. You might notice that there's sort of a trend in some of my fiction reading of late. This is certainly a theme I talked about last month with Matt Haig's newest novel, but I'm kind of interested in reading books about older people and older people who find, a new lease on life, or find get a second chance, and I understand that that's how this novel is often described. So it had a certain appeal. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. I'm in the middle right now of so many events, but I wanted to have that on deck somewhere along the line. That's going to fit in. And then another one, similar in some ways, at least in that it's about an elderly person, Kathleen Rooney's Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk. I want to try to show that in a way that you don't see the glare. So this is actually a novel about 85-year-old Lillian Boxfish, who had been the highest paid woman in advertising starting in the 1930s. The novel takes place in the 1980s when she takes a walk on New Year's Eve, and journeys basically through the whole city. And in the course of that journey and meeting a bunch of people, she also recalls details of her life. I understand that this novel is actually based on a real person. This is based on Margaret Fishback, who was in real life the highest paid ad copywriter for Macy's starting in the 1930s. And Fishback's papers were donated by her son, I think, to Duke University. And so the author of this novel had access to her papers, and they made the basis for this novel. I also received or bought for myself with things that with cards that people gave me, several new poetry volumes. I got Riner Maria Rilke's Sonnets to Orpheus. This is a new edition. This is a new translation by Mark S. Burrows. It's actually a dual language edition, which, I can't read German, but I like seeing the two languages side by side. So this is something that I've been really interested in reading. And then a contemporary poet who is new to me, though she's not new at all. I mean, she's written, I think, more than a dozen books. But this is Freya Manfred. And this is her Loon in Late November Water. And I actually discovered her recently when I was doing some research for a Poetry Thursday episode, and I just loved everything that I found, and I just thought, where have I been that I hadn't discovered her yet. She's a contemporary poet. She's still, living and still writing. She writes frequently about the natural world and, human beings' relationships with the natural world. I think her from what I've read so far, her poetry is very much a poetry of place. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. And then I got this collected poems of Sara Teasdale. Now, she died in the 1930s, so Sara Teasdale was writing poetry in the early, mostly in the early 20th century. But I think she's, largely overlooked these days. And I came upon her in some of my anthologies, and I just loved what I was reading. And I thought, I want to do a deep dive into her work, because I only really know the poems that are frequently anthologized. This collection, which I think was independently published by someone, it just the way it's laid out, it kind of has that look. A lot of poems on a page or on 2 pages, but it's not her complete works, but it does take poetry from 5 of her collections, 5 of her published collections between 1907 and 1920. So I thought this might just give me a good overview of her her body of work. So those are the books that I have brought into my house over the holidays, thanks to my very generous friends and family. And I just thought that you might like to see some of what I have on the horizon, and hopefully these are all things that I'll be talking about in the future. So anyway, as always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.